Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I'm working on a Project Life spread from 2020, and this is week 9, so it is the last week in February and the very first day of March. And I am using Studio Calico's March 2020 kit. I apologize, I don't know the name of it. They do have these cute names that go along with their kit. I just know them by the month. So this one came out in March. And the first thing that I did is kind of go through the cards and pick out the ones that I thought would go really well with this kit. So I picked out a lot of ones that had pink and maybe some blues. I'm looking also at the journaling cards that that would work. So this happens to be the week of my birthday, and I wanted to highlight that day. I would say probably 3 of the photos in this spread came from my birthday. So there is a card that's right next to that photo of me and my husband. It's really hard to see because it's white, and it says today's schedule, and it has a list of the times with a line. And I thought that that would be really great to use as my birthday to just kind of highlight what I did that day. Wasn't a ton going on, and yet there was. Like my kids had a game that they were cheering at. I ended up at lunch with my parents. My mom's birthday's on the 29th. She was actually able to get a birthday this year, but was out of town, so I couldn't celebrate on the actual day. But anyway, so there was stuff that went on that day that I just wanted to highlight. So I thought that that would be a really great card for that. I like that card a lot. I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to make my own digital version of that so that I can use it another time. You can also see that I grabbed one of the 4x6 cards to use as a title card, and I just stamped out the dates using a rolling date stamp right onto the label that just happened to be, the design of the card. And then I did a little bit of journaling. I think the majority of the journaling I did this week was on my computer, which at one point I end up regretting because I kind of wrecked one of my journaling cards doing it that way, but I think I was able to salvage it okay. So you'll see that coming up. But for this card that had the light polka dots on there, I decided to do some journaling. And this journaling is about finishing the bathroom downstairs. So right before, if you see the dates, a couple weeks before the quarantine, my husband decided to finish the basement downstairs. He's kind of in between things right now. And so we finished it out. We finished it and it looked really great. And he actually finished it when we were in California a couple weeks before this, but we just finally got all the details where you're hanging the shelves and you're buying the piece of furniture and whatnot. So I just did a little bit of journaling about that. It's kind of nice to finally have that bathroom done since we've been in the house for actually almost 6 years to the date. So that's pretty exciting. So that was a good thing that I wanted to be able to celebrate. You can see that I just was going through some of my past chipboard pieces to see what would work for that. And now you can see that I'm going to be working on some journaling. Like I said, I did a bunch of typed journaling onto the cards that came in the kit. And one of them, so I have this color laser printer that I have never tried putting a card through it. My black and white laser printer is what I normally use for that, but we have a colored one. So I ended up putting the pink one through the new machine and it just did not work. It got stuck. And then you can see that it actually added like this light layer of type, which I was really bugged about. And so I had to rerun it through my older machine. And it actually worked that time when I rerun it through, but it still has the markings on there. So I'm going to have to figure that out, and you'll see how I end up trying to mask it a little bit. It does kind of seem like, I guess I would say if there was more text, it would almost seem like it was intentional on the card 'Cause you know how sometimes they put text on the background when you're doing like layering, when you're layering pieces together. So that's kind of what I try to do, but you'll see that coming up. All right, so I have this card. I had some flowers delivered on my birthday from one of my dearest friends that moved across country this year in January. I was super sad to see them go. Their family, friends, just adore them. And they sent me flowers on my birthday. And I actually cried when I got them because I just miss them so much. Usually we celebrate our birthdays together. So I was really missing them. And so it was really good to get that card. So I wanted to actually have that in the spread. You can see that I just grabbed one of the 4x6 cards and covered up the grow and just put the card that came in the delivery right on top. And I really thought that those colors worked really well with the rest of the spread. And I liked that leaf design as well. I also decided to use the stamp set that came in the kit to stamp it. The stamp says yes, and it has an arrow. And the reason why I did that is because if you look closely at that picture, my daughter is the only one making a face and everyone else is smiling at the camera. So I just thought that that would be really funny to highlight that she's the only one that's making a face, and it's totally typical of something she would do. So I kind of wanted to point that out. I also wanted to do a little bit more stamping on my title card, and I was trying to decide if I wanted to stamp right onto the card and onto the labels, or if I wanted to make it more of a 3x4 card and cut out this 3x4 grid, or this 4x6 card, cut it in half and stick that on the other side. So it would be 2 3x4 cards, and, add some stamping onto that card. Hopefully that makes sense. Obviously you're watching me do it. I'm just kind of playing around to see if I like the look of it. I actually don't. I liked the labels. I liked the feel of having the stamps on the label. So ultimately that is what I decide to do. But oftentimes when I'm not sure and I need to test it out, that is one thing that's really awesome about stamps, is you can stamp it out, cut it out, put it on your photo or whatever it is that you're looking to put it on, and then you get a really good indication of what that's going to look like. So you can see that I'm just kind of testing it out. I actually did cut up that 4x6 card that had the grid pattern on the back just to see if I liked it. But now you can see that I was not my first choice. My first choice was to just go ahead and use the labels. I really do love labels, and it's something that I've been working on creating myself just for my own projects, is just to, create them in Illustrator and print them out so that I can have them to use in Project Life on my photos or on my journaling cards or whatever. It's kind of something that I've been doing while I've been in quarantine, is just kind of playing with some designs a little bit, and also making stickers. So those are a couple things that I've been working on while I've been in quarantine. So you can see that I'm just going through some of the chipboard, and I'm looking for some chipboard that will fit inside those labels, just because it feels like those labels can kind of house them and hold them. And I just really like the way that looked. All right, you guys, so you can actually see that I have jumped ahead in the process, and the footage that I had, I can actually see the video on my computer, but something must have happened to the file because it will not play and I'm not able to edit it in any way. It's very frustrating, but I figure it's only a few minutes in my process, and while I figured it showed kind of a big portion of it, I can definitely fill you in on the pieces that we missed. So you can see that I have got now some stamped images at the bottom, one on that card that I had talked to you about, and then the other one on the photo with the flowers. So those actually came from a new stamp set from Everyday Explorers. And while I was working on this, I got a package in the mail that had my stamps in it, which I thought was perfect timing. So I went ahead and I stamped some of these out on some cardstock and just went ahead and cut around them. I think I did it with several of them, just anticipating that I would want to use them in this spread because they were birthday themed. She has a great birthday theme. I think it came out in April, but it's possible that it came out in March. But I just went ahead and stamped a few and then put it on some of the photos. And then I continued to move on with the rest of the spread with my title card. And I also stamped, so you can see the stamp on the flower. I also went ahead and stamped Giving Thanks. So that was from one of Allie Edwards' stamp sets, just right there in the middle. Those were the flowers that I received from my friend. So anyway, that is really all that you missed. So we're just going to continue on and pretend that we still had that footage there. One of the other things you can see that I've added a few more chipboard in those spots there. I've got like a smaller circle and then another rectangular one that says hashtag love. So I'm just really love how that looked and filling that up so it just kind of felt fun and whimsy. And now I'm going to go ahead and work on the journaling. So like I had mentioned, this is actually just going to be kind of a schedule of what I did on my birthday. And I had to bring over my Hobonichi, that is the journal that I'm using, and it helps me, obviously it's like helped me keep track of the things that I need to do, but it also is a journal as well. So I had to bring that over to kind of see what I had done. And I will say, if you guys have any interest in seeing my Hobonichi and how I'm using it, I actually think it might be the way that I memory keep in the future, in like the distant future. I mean, not anything in the next few years, but definitely when I have, no kids at home and I just feel like I really need to downsize, I imagine that I will do something like that for memory keeping, just to keep it simple. And I definitely do love the Hobonichi. So if you want me to talk you into a planner, I can definitely do a video on it. Anyway, so filling that out, and you can see that the rest of the journaling is just typed on. And really, this is the last piece that I'm going to do before I try and figure out that one card that I messed up. So I'm going to try and fill that in just so, you know what, I'm not trying to necessarily hide the text. I'm just trying to make it so the text looks like it belongs there, if that makes any sense. So I'm kind of looking for the chipboard, or looking through the chipboard and trying to decide what I could put there and how I could make it feel like it was intentional, if you understand what I mean. So I'm just going to kind of go through it and just kind of look and mess around with some stuff. In the end, I am pleased with what I have, and you will have to look at the photos in the end to see exactly what I did. So the journaling on this card is about the cheerleader. So this was, if I remember correctly, I think this was the last game that my kids cheered at. It was at the university stadium. So it was a state game, and they ended up cheering at that. So that journaling was all about cheer. And one of the stamps in the stamp set that I was telling you about from Everyday Explorer, the birthday one, there was one that says cheer on it. So I thought that would be a lot of fun. You'll see that I pull over another one of the stamped images that I had stamped and then cut out to put in place, because it's kind of about celebrating, and that's kind of what the journaling is about also. But once I realized there was a cheer, I thought that would be more fun. So look at the photos and you can see how I have changed it there. But I really like how it ended up working out. And the tag that's underneath is actually a label that came in the kit. There was like some label stickers that came in the kit. You can't really see the border because it's pretty light, but anyway, you'll be able to tell in the photos. So anyway, you guys, that is it for week 9, and I'm really pleased with it. I like how it all came together and the colors and the feel, and I really liked the stamped images. So you'll probably be seeing more of that from me, especially since I did buy a few of those sets from Everyday Explorers. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. And if you have not yet subscribed, please think about doing so and liking this video. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.